Hey everyone, welcome back to the GCP-Mindset channel, where we break down the world of clinical research in a way that's actually useful and makes sense. No fluff, just real talk.
Today, we're diving into something that keeps every clinical trial running smoothly: project management. What is it? Why is it so important? And what makes a great clinical project manager? Whether you're new to clinical research or already in the game, this one's for you. We're going to keep it simple, structured, and straight to the point. So, let's jump in.
Welcome to the GCP-Mindset channel and all topics on clinical research.
All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is project management in clinical trials?
At its core, project management in clinical trials is about keeping everything on track: the timeline, the budget, the quality, and compliance with regulations. Clinical trials are massive operations. You've got different research sites, teams spread across the world, strict regulatory requirements, and of course, a lot of data to manage. If there's no structure, things fall apart fast. That's where the clinical project manager comes in. They make sure everyone knows their role, the study stays on schedule, and nothing slips through the cracks. Without a solid CPM, trials can get delayed, budgets can spiral out of control, and regulatory bodies can step in, not something you want. Think of them like an orchestra conductor. They don't play every instrument, but they make sure everything works together in harmony.
Got it. So, what does a clinical project manager actually do all day?
A little bit of everything, honestly. It's a mix of planning, coordination, troubleshooting, and a lot of communication. Most days start with checking timelines and milestones, making sure sites are recruiting patients as planned, that vendors are delivering on time, and that the trial is moving forward. Then there's problem solving. Maybe a site is struggling with recruitment, or there's a delay in lab results. A good CPM jumps in and figures out solutions before these issues snowball. They also spend a ton of time talking to people: study sites, sponsors, regulatory teams, data managers. Everyone needs updates, and everyone has questions. The CPM is the person who makes sure all the pieces fit together. And of course, they're always looking ahead, trying to spot potential roadblocks before they happen. It's not just reacting to problems, it's anticipating them and having backup plans ready.
I keep hearing that communication is the most important skill for a clinical project manager. Why is that?
Because if communication breaks down, the whole study falls apart. Simple as that. Clinical trials involve so many different stakeholders, sponsors, regulatory agencies, study sites, CRAs, data managers, vendors, you name it. They're often in different time zones, different countries, and working on different priorities. If the information flow isn't clear, things get messy fast. A great CPM knows how to filter out the noise and get the right information to the right people at the right time. They also know how to keep conversations solution-focused. It's not just about saying, "Here's the problem," it's about saying, "Here's the problem, and here's how we fix it." Good communication also builds trust. When a sponsor knows their CPM is on top of things, they don't micromanage. When a study site feels heard, they're more motivated to stay engaged. It makes everything run smoother.
What are some of the biggest challenges clinical project managers deal with?
Where do I start? One of the biggest struggles is balancing time, quality, and budget. You can't have a trial that's fast, cheap, and perfect. It just doesn't work like that. A CPM has to figure out where to make trade-offs without compromising the study's integrity. Another major challenge is regulatory compliance. Clinical trials are constantly evolving: new regulations, updated guidelines, different requirements in different countries. A project manager has to stay on top of all that, or the study could face major delays. And then there's patient recruitment, probably the #1 reason trials get delayed. If sites aren't enrolling enough participants, everything slows down, and that means more costs. A good CPM is always checking in with sites, helping them with recruitment strategies, and having a plan B ready in case things don't go as expected.
Speaking of costs, clinical trials aren't cheap. How does a clinical project manager keep a trial within budget?
By paying attention to the details and staying ahead of problems. A CPM doesn't just look at the budget at the beginning of the study and hope for the best. They're constantly tracking spending versus projections, making adjustments as needed, and flagging issues early before they become financial disasters. If recruitment is slower than planned, they might shift resources to help sites bring in more patients. If a vendor is charging more than expected, they'll negotiate a better deal or find an alternative solution. And most importantly, they always plan for the unexpected. Because in clinical research, something always happens. If a CPM doesn't leave room in the budget for unforeseen issues, the entire trial can be in trouble.
What makes someone a great clinical project manager?
Honestly, it's a combination of leadership, adaptability, and strategic thinking. You've got to be a strong communicator because, like we talked about, keeping everyone aligned is half the job. You also need to be decisive. Things move fast in clinical trials, and you can't hesitate when decisions need to be made. Another big one is staying calm under pressure. There's always something going wrong in a trial, but a great CPM doesn't panic. They assess the situation, look at the options, and take action. And finally, you need big picture thinking. A good CPM doesn't just focus on what's happening today. They're thinking about what's coming next, what risks need to be managed, and how to keep the study running efficiently from start to finish.
Risk management sounds like a buzzword, but what does it actually mean in a clinical trial?
It means spotting problems before they happen and having a plan to deal with them. A clinical project manager has to expect the unexpected, whether it's a site underperforming, a regulatory change throwing a curveball, or a budget issue creeping up. A good CPM has contingency plans in place so that when something goes wrong, the trial doesn't come to a standstill. It's about always asking, what if? And making sure the team is ready for whatever comes next.
For experienced project managers, how do you take things to the next level?
At a senior level, it's less about day-to-day problem solving and more about long-term strategy. You start thinking beyond individual studies and focusing on how to make trials more efficient overall. Maybe it's about implementing new technologies, optimizing recruitment processes, or refining risk management strategies. Building strong relationships with sponsors, regulatory bodies, and CROs also becomes key. The better those relationships, the smoother your trials will run. At this stage, you're not just managing studies, you're shaping the future of clinical research.
That was packed with insights. Whether you're new to this or a seasoned professional, clinical project management is a career that requires leadership, adaptability, and strategy.
If you found this helpful, subscribe, share, and drop your questions in the comments. Until next time, keep managing those trials like a pro.